Welcome to HFY Sci-Fi Stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. The terrifying screams erupted at 0800 hours Galactic Standard Time as acrid smoke billowed from Training Bay 7 of the Galactic Defense Academy, triggering every alarm within the sprawling facility. Emergency teams surged toward the unfolding chaos, bracing for the familiar devastation of a failed combat simulation. Instead, they discovered Instructor Quexron standing unnervingly still at the bay's heart, arms crossed, observing a human meticulously taking notes amidst the thunderous echoes of explosions. "Fascinating," the human murmured, his stylus dancing across his datapad. "So the crucial element is misdirection, expertly coupled with environmental exploitation. Understood." Quexron's mandibles clicked, a sound that conveyed a chilling mix of amusement and dread. "Most species require 17 attempts to survive this ordeal, human Ryan. You accomplished it in 4 minutes." Ryan, stepping over a smoldering fragment, continued writing. "Your explanation of auditory misdirection for masking movement yesterday was particularly insightful." The emergency teams exchanged bewildered glances, realizing this was utterly impossible. 3 months prior, the Galactic Defense Academy had extended what they deemed a magnanimous offer. With humanity's recent ascension to the Galactic Council, they had extended an invitation to train select human personnel in advanced survival techniques. This was intended as a diplomatic courtesy, a way to showcase the nuances of true military doctrine to the newcomers. The Academy was renowned for cultivating the galaxy's most formidable forces, its curriculum encompassing everything from zero-gravity combat to psychological warfare, with its apex achievement being the ambush survival program. Forged over centuries by the brightest military minds across known space, it was meticulously crafted to prepare soldiers for the most perilous combat scenarios imaginable. Astonishingly, no species had ever conquered the complete program on their inaugural attempt. The Velinari had required 3 years, the Theon, 5. Even the notoriously fierce Gorati needed multiple cycles to fully comprehend the sophisticated concepts. Then, the humans arrived. Ryan was their inaugural student, chosen from Earth's military for his exceptional psychological profile and tactical acumen. On paper, he appeared promising, yet entirely unremarkable. Standard human physiology, competent reflexes, above-average intelligence, nothing to foreshadow his disruption of their entire pedagogical framework. The challenges began with the very first lecture. The foundational principle of ambush survival, Sexion had articulated to the diverse assembly of species, is discerning the distinction between cover and concealment. Cover actively negates projectiles. Concealment merely obscures you from observation. Ryan's hand shot upwards. What if concealment is utilized to fabricate false cover positions? "Elaborate," Sexion prompted. "If one can convince the adversary that their perceived concealment is, in fact, substantial cover, they will expend ammunition on inconsequential locations, while you strategically reposition to genuine cover." A profound silence fell over the classroom. That particular concept wasn't slated for introduction until the 6th week. "An interesting observation," Xone responded with calculated caution. "We shall delve into advanced deception tactics later in the curriculum." But Ryan was far from finished. And what of environmental factors? In a forest, fallen logs provide cover. However, in an urban setting, must consider sightlines, potential ricochet trajectories, and critical structural vulnerabilities. A startled gasp emanated from a Thalong cadet in the rear, who had been immersed in their studies for 2 years without reaching such a level of analysis. "Human Ryan," Kazan stated slowly, "have you undergone prior military training in these specific areas?" "Not explicitly," Ryan replied. "I am simply processing the logical implications of the principles you are imparting." That should have been the initial warning signal. In the ensuing weeks, Ryan attended every lecture, actively participated in every exercise, and posed questions that unsettled the instructors, not due to their inaccuracy, but their unnerving precision. He would seize a fundamental concept and immediately extrapolate it to scenarios the Academy had not planned to address for months. During the lesson on escape routes, Ryan inquired about the creation of deceptive trails. In the session focusing on enemy psychology, he questioned the use of captured equipment to sow confusion among hostile forces. When team coordination was discussed, he sought to understand how communication protocol could be exploited to feed misinformation to intercepting adversaries. "He is exhibiting predatory thinking," Commander Vorth remarked during a staff meeting. "Most species prioritize survival. This human is already strategizing counterattacks. It is merely intellectual curiosity, Questron responded, though his tone betrayed a flicker of doubt. Humans are recognized for their innovative problem-solving capabilities. The practical exercises, however, told a far more compelling tale. The initial field test was designed as a foundational learning experience, placing students within a simulated hostile environment and assigning them basic survival objectives. The anticipated outcome was for them to commit errors, learn from these missteps, and gradually progress through multiple attempts. Ryan, however, completed the course in an astonishingly short period, employing techniques that were not scheduled for instruction. Ryan patiently waited for the advanced curriculum. How did you intuit the use of terrain acoustics to conceal your movements? Sexeron probed later. Yesterday you mentioned sound's varied travel patterns in different environments. It struck me that if I could foresee my footsteps' echoes, I could synchronize with the environment's natural soundscape. Accurate, Sexeron admitted, though acoustic camouflage wasn't even on the syllabus yet. Ryan just shrugged. It just felt like the obvious next step. The next trial involved evading several hunters across a complex cityscape. Trainees usually succumbed within 20 minutes. Ryan persevered for 3 grueling hours, even managing to tag 2 pursuers with training markers, effectively transforming the exercise into a counter-ambush. One instructor grumbled, "This wasn't supposed to be a combat scenario." "I know," Ryan answered, "but to truly escape an ambush, you must grasp the dynamics from both perspectives, correct?" The ultimate test was the Academy's crowning achievement in psychological warfare and tactical assessment. Students confronted an unwinnable scenario designed to evaluate clarity under duress and the application of all training. Only about 30% succeeded, even after multiple attempts. Ryan didn't just pass. He shattered the simulation. The scenario depicted entrapment within a facility under imminent attack. The expectation was to locate a safe room and request extraction. Instead, Ryan systematically neutralized the simulated threats, secured the facility, and established a defensive line. Sexeron, fixated on the tactical display, questioned, "You were supposed to escape." Ryan gestured to the screen. "I did escape. I escaped the mindset of being trapped. You provided a building full of defensive locations, abundant exits, and detailed enemy intelligence. Why flee when victory is attainable?" A profound silence filled the control room. Ryan added, "The scenario presupposed perfect enemy knowledge of my location and skills. But ambushes rarely unfold that way. They fail because attackers underestimate their targets or overestimate their own advantages." Commander Vorth leaned in. "Are you suggesting our simulations are flawed?" "I'm suggesting they are incomplete. You train us to survive ambushes, not to reverse them. Sometimes the strongest defense lies in making the other side regret the engagement." That evening, Kixron composed a report, ultimately classified at the highest levels of galactic security. It detailed Ryan's performance, his unique insights, and growing anxieties about the consequences of advanced military training for humans. The report's conclusion read, "Recommend immediate re-evaluation of information sharing protocols with human military personnel. Subject exhibits unprecedented capacity to weaponize defensive strategies." 3 weeks later, Kexon would fully comprehend its significance. But in the present, as Ryan packed for Earth, the instructor allowed himself a moment of pride. He had guided an exceptional student, one who internalized every principle and demonstrated tactical brilliance that even impressed seasoned veterans. "Congratulations, Quake," he said, extending a formal farewell. "I trust you will utilize your training wisely." Ryan responded with that peculiar human smile that somehow never reached their eyes. "I certainly will. Thank you, Instructor. It's been incredibly enlightening." As Ryan's transport ascended from the Academy's pad, Kexron experienced a nagging unease. Something about that smile disturbed him, though its meaning remained elusive. The first sign that something was amiss materialized 21 days later when Sexron's security detail noted unusual activity near his residence. Motion sensors recorded movement inconsistent with local wildlife or standard patrol routes. The second sign came when his communication system began detecting transmissions on frequencies that should not have existed in his sector. The third sign was the sudden darkness and a familiar voice speaking from within. "Hello, Instructor. Class is back in session." Absolute darkness enveloped Kakana's residence. Emergency lights should have activated automatically when the power failed, but somehow every backup system had been simultaneously disabled. His arms instinctively reached for the weapon harnesses on his walls, finding only empty brackets. "Looking for these?" Ryan's disembodied voice seemed to echo everywhere. A soft metallic sound resonated as something landed nearby. "Don't worry, I left the SF security protocols are active." Carax's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of intense agitation. "How did you bypass Academy-grade security?" "You taught me." The voice shifted, now emanating from the opposite side of the room. Lesson 3. Remember, security systems are only as robust as their weakest link. Your residence boasts 17 distinct defensive measures, yet they all rely on a single power distribution network. A faint blue luminescence bathed the space as Ryan activated a portable light source. He settled casually into Kexron's preferred chair, a datapad in hand, appearing much like a student reviewing notes before an examination. I must confess, the sensor array was truly impressive. Thermal, motion, electromagnetic, even pheromone detection. But you overlooked acoustic mapping. Ryan tapped his datapad. 3 weeks of observing your daily routines provided me with all the necessary insights into your movement patterns, sleep cycles, and security protocols. This is unfathomable. The Academy's perimeter sensors would have detected any surveillance equipment. They did, 17 times. Ryan's smile was discernible in the dim light. But you also instructed us in misdirection. While your security teams were occupied investigating obvious surveillance devices, they missed the passive monitoring systems I had already integrated into your daily supply deliveries. Quarren's secondary appendages twitched toward his communication console. Ryan shook his head. The communication array is offline. I didn't damage it. I merely borrowed a few critical components. They are stored securely nearby, along with your weaponry and emergency beacon. He rose, moving with the fluid grace of someone entirely at ease in hostile surroundings. Do not be alarmed. This is not an act of aggression. Consider it a practical demonstration. A demonstration of what? Everything you imparted to me. Ryan began to traverse the room slowly, his movements deliberate and controlled. Surveillance techniques, infiltration protocols, psychological warfare, environmental exploitation. You covered it all with remarkable thoroughness. The instructor's composure began to falter. You are contravening dozens of galactic treaties. The Academy will what? Issue a report detailing how their premier instructor was outmaneuvered by a human employing their own training methodologies. Ryan's voice held a note of amusement. I doubt that. Furthermore, this is not about the Academy. Then what is its purpose? Employment. The word resonated in the air like a deployed weapon. Kexron's 4 eyes narrowed as he absorbed the implications. You see, Instructor, Earth's military possesses some exceptionally specific inquiries regarding galactic combat doctrine. Questions that can only be answered by an individual possessing intimate knowledge of alien training methodologies, tactical predispositions, and strategic thinking. Ryan halted directly before Kexron, close enough for the alien to detect the human's peculiar, flat scent. Someone like yourself? You intend to recruit me. I am extending an offer, a choice. The straightforward path involves a comfortable consulting role, complete with exceptional benefits, and the chance to actively shape interspecies military cooperation. The arduous path, Ryan gestured around the darkened chamber. Well, you are presently experiencing a preview of that very path. Q's mandibles clicked in a gesture that could be interpreted as amusement. You believe you can compel me to betray the Academy? I believe you will assist us because it is the prudent course of action. Ryan activated his datapad, and holographic projections materialized throughout the room. Allow me to illustrate what I have learned about your colleagues. The initial display presented intricate schematics of the Academy's training facilities. The subsequent projection contained psychological profiles of every instructor Ryan had encountered. The third showcased tactical assessments of 17 distinct alien military forces across the galaxy. 3 weeks of observation, cross-referenced with publicly accessible information, and some inventive intelligence gathering. Ryan swiped through the displays. Did you realize Commander Vorth has a gambling affliction? Or that Instructor sells training simulations to private military contractors? How did you? You taught me to observe everything and assume nothing. Therefore, I observed your colleagues' daily routines, their communication patterns, their personal vulnerabilities. It is astonishing what one can glean by applying Academy surveillance techniques to the very individuals who devised them. The displays transitioned to reveal financial records, personal communications, and security footage from various Academy installations. Chigon comprehended with mounting dread that Ryan had not merely been studying military tactics. He had orchestrated a comprehensive intelligence operation targeting the entire Academy infrastructure. "This is precisely why you will assist us," Ryan continued, "because you are the sole instructor unburdened by significant personal vulnerabilities, free of gambling debts, side businesses, or questionable personal associations. You are untainted, which renders you valuable. And should I refuse, then tomorrow morning, every Academy instructor..." A detailed report exposing Commander Vorth's questionable debts would mysteriously reach his lenders. Instructor Thenel's illicit partners would suddenly learn about his Academy connections. Ryan's smile never faltered, yet his voice held the chill of icy resolution. The Academy's good name will be dragged through the mud. Promising careers will be destroyed, and galactic military protocols will become a joke. You're toying with destabilizing the whole Academy system. They're already doing a fine job of that all by themselves. I'm only passing on the facts. Ryan deactivated the holographic projections, but it doesn't have to play out like that. Cooperate, and this intelligence remains secret. Everyone keeps their dignity, their position, their secrets safe. Texron remained thoughtfully quiet, contemplating the ramifications. Just what does this consultancy involve? Helping Earth better grasp the way other species strategize, not their battle plans. Not any classified intel, just how they typically approach conflicts, conduct training, and prefer to wage war. Ryan settled back into his chair, relaxed, but ever vigilant. Think of it as continuing education. You refine humanity's integration into galactic military constructs. You also ensure that you're on the victorious side of any coming battles. The easy self-assurance in Ryan's tone sent a shiver down Sexron's carapace. What gives you the notion conflict looms? Because conflict is perpetual. This galaxy, sprawling and wildly different, can never achieve permanent harmony. Eventually, when the pressure rises, individuals start looking to gain an edge. It's the ones who can anticipate their rivals that will endure. The rest, Ryan lifted his shoulders. You taught me the value of preparedness. You're talking about espionage. I'm speaking about the cold truth. Earth, the newest kid on the galactic block, is either an easy target or a fearsome contender, all depending on how wisely we play our cards. Rising, Ryan started making his way towards the exit. We opt for fearsome. And should you still decline, you'll awaken tomorrow morning to full power. Every weapon returned. All systems online again. You'll file a report of a minor security issue, quickly dealt with. Then you'll spend the rest of your existence wondering when another Earthborn student walks through the Academy's gates. The implicit threat was crystal clear. This wasn't limited to Kextron. This was an assault on the very idea that alien military structures were invulnerable to human infiltration. How many others are in place? Kexron asked, his voice barely audible. Other students, other academies that you've infiltrated? A genuine grin spread across Ryan's face. That would be unwise to reveal. Still, I'll confide, you stood out as my best teacher. You were unique for understanding the curriculum, rather than simply reciting protocol. That's why I approached you first. The others won't receive the courtesy of a choice. The implications lingered like a death knell. Kexron realized Ryan wasn't just seeking an ally. He was undermining the Academy's ability to train officers free from human awareness. You're more than just a student, Kexron stated. You're the advance guard. I'm whatever Earth requires me to be. As Ryan put his hand on the manual override, preparing to leave, he paused. You have 2 days to decide. After that, I'll move on to Instructor Brixhull at the Outer Rim Academy. I heard they are doing groundbreaking studies in asymmetric warfare. Ryan was deep in thought. That's a lesson I won't want to miss. The door opened, exposing the lit hallway, yet Ryan moved confidently through it. And Instructor? Ryan's voice resonated. You might want to revisit your teaching. Humans learn on a whole other level than other species. Oh, how so? We don't just retain knowledge, we build upon it. Ryan's footsteps faded away, leaving Kexron alone. It took him a minute, but alarms began to sound. These were not from his personal system, still offline. No, these were Academy-wide, signaling an Academy-wide emergency. As Gwexron tuned into the alerts, the realization hit him. Ryan's visit was the diversion. While they were focused on one instructor, a major operation was underway in the main facility. It was clear, with the multiple breaches, the timing, and the objectives, that it went well beyond just collecting intelligence. Sexron's console flickered as Ryan's borrowed CEA chilling cascade of alerts ripped through the Galactic Defense Academy. Classified materials vanished from 17 departments. A silent, swift theft. A message, chillingly simple, echoed the unsettling truth. Thank you for the excellent education. The practical application begins now. Kexicron felt a tremor of dread, icy fear gripping his soul. Ryan hadn't just trained. He'd been preparing for a cataclysmic confrontation. Now, that future had arrived. Emergency lights blazed in the command center, a maelstrom of fear and confusion. Commander Vorth, his scaled form shifting with mounting dread, stared at the horrifying reports. 17 breaches. Every critical department compromised, and no sensor recorded the attack. A technician's voice broke the silence. Sir, transmission on an open channel. It's from the humans. A hush fell over the room. Vorth's eyes narrowed. On the main display, Ryan's face appeared, surrounded by 3 others in Earth's elite Special Operations Command uniforms. A mobile command center, its tactical screens displaying Academy schematics in real time, created a surreal backdrop. Good evening, Commander Vorth, Ryan said calmly. We are deeply grateful for your Academy's exceptional training. Now what have you done to deserve such a demonstration? Vorth's voice was a low growl. This isn't a request. This is an act of war. Actually, Ryan replied, it's a job interview. We're showcasing our qualifications for galactic military consultants. Earth has received unsettling intelligence about galactic threats. We believe certain species are pursuing aggressive expansion policies, posing a severe danger to peaceful worlds. Are you speaking of the hegemony? Vorth asked, his voice barely above a murmur. Torres confirmed it. Traditional military doctrine may be inadequate to counter these emerging threats. We offer our expertise. We've demonstrated our ability to access your classified materials, proving your security protocols are flawed. If 3 humans can infiltrate your most secure facility, imagine what a determined enemy could achieve. Vorth felt a chilling realization. The Academy, a repository of centuries of galactic knowledge, was vulnerable. How did you do it? He demanded. Mike projected a holographic map of the Academy, lines of infiltration highlighted. Your systems are impressive, but they're designed for conventional infiltration. We used methods beyond your tactical databases. Phase 1. Establishing security patterns through passive observation. 2 months we monitored your facilities, analyzing guard shifts, sensor sweeps, and communications. Phase 2. Social engineering, Jake continued. We identified key personnel, cultivating relationships through casual conversations, meals, and friendly interactions. We gained their trust. We made friends, Ryan corrected. Instructor Sextron wasn't the only Academy member who enjoyed discussing tactical theory with curious humans. Maintenance, security, and admin staff proved surprisingly helpful once they knew us. Colonel Torres revealed Phase 3, exploiting our gathered intel. Your security, while strong against unauthorized access, assumes authorized personnel are trustworthy. With legitimate codes and IDs, we moved freely. Biometrically locked, Vorth protested. To their species, Mike countered. Human physiology differs enough to create synthetic biometric signatures, undetectable to your security analysis. Impossible, Vorth exclaimed. Ryan smirked. Innovative. Your systems check for known spoofing, but not techniques yet uninvented. The command center buzzed with alarm as the implications crashed down. Biometric security bypassed, every galactic facility vulnerable. Phase 4, Torres continued, involved dividing the facility into 17 sectors, assigning objectives to each team member for simultaneous breaches. This overwhelmed your response, ensuring success even if some operations failed. How many? Vorth demanded. 4, Ryan stated. The 4 you see. Silence. 4 humans had infiltrated the galaxy's most secure facility, stolen classified data from 17 departments, and escaped undetected. The kicker? Jake said, a new display appearing. We improved your training. It showed tactical analyses of Academy doctrine, highlighting weaknesses and improvements. Your ambush survival training focuses on evasion, but neglects the psychology of fight or flight, Mike explained. Our enhanced protocols, incorporating human psychological research, yield significant results. Sell us back our training? Vorth sputtered. Help you improve it, Torres corrected. The galaxy's changing. Earth offers expertise in exchange for cooperation and mutual defense. Refuse, Ryan's voice hardened, and tonight's operation becomes a demonstration. We've identified vulnerabilities in 47 major military installations. Without galactic cooperation, we'll use any advantage. You threaten the entire galactic military. We offer to strengthen it, Torres countered, through genuine partnership. The days of humanity as galactic juniors are over. Vorth stared, mind reeling. What's your proposal? Joint training, Ryan answered. Human tactical innovation with galactic experience. We'll share infiltration, psychological warfare, and adaptive combat strategies for access to advanced technology and strategic intelligence. An instructor at Quixon will coordinate, assuming he accepts our consulting offer. His ambush survival expertise is invaluable for counter-infiltration. Restructuring our military philosophy? Surviving what's coming, Torres stated grimly. Intelligence shows the hegemony planning major expansion in 5 years. Traditional doctrine won't suffice. Why will human methods be more effective? We tested them, Jake replied. 3 weeks ago, we simulated an infiltration of a hegemony border facility. Using our enhanced techniques, we penetrated security, gathered intel, and withdrew undetected. You what? Vorth's color drained. Purely observational, Mike reassured. No damage, no theft. We confirmed our training's effectiveness against potential enemies. But the intel was alarming. Torres added, the hegemony's developing new weapons. New, terrifying weaponry, capable of shattering galactic peace, was the looming threat. They aren't just plotting to grow. They're plotting conquest. The gravity of the words suffocated the room. If the humans are right, traditional defenses are useless. Vorth pressed. Why trust you? Because we offer a chance, Ryan stated firmly. Join us and forge the military might needed for lasting peace. Refuse, and Earth will be forced to protect itself, potentially at odds with galactic interests. Blackmail, Torres countered. We're negotiating. Earth's unique military insights can benefit everyone, but we demand respect, not subservience. This is a partnership. Vor surveyed his staff. The humans' capabilities upended everything they thought they knew. They offered solutions the galactic military hadn't even conceived. What does this partnership mean? Mike began. Shared training, research, development, human innovation entwined with galactic experience, resulting in unparalleled strength, cooperative command, no single species rules, expertise dictates decisions. The Council will never agree. They will agree to galactic survival, Ryan countered. Tonight, they'll see the old ways have failed. As if on cue, the alarms blared. A priority message from the Council. Emergency transmission, a tech shouted. They demand a briefing on the Academy breach. Vor looked at the humans, understanding the future hung in the balance. They already know. Councilmember Brixell received a complete briefing 20 minutes ago, Torres confirmed, along with our partnership proposal and threat assessment. You've been planning this for months. Years, Ryan corrected. Since Earth joined the galaxy, we've analyzed threats and devised countermeasures. Tonight is the culmination. Another priority message. Commander Vorth, immediately escort the humans to council chambers for an emergency session. All security protocols are suspended. Vor felt their control of galactic military doctrine. Transportation to the council chambers, then? We're already here, Ryan replied. The doors opened, revealing the humans. They had been broadcasting from just beyond the facility, awaiting the critical moment. Shall we? Torres asked softly. I believe the council awaits. Vor paused before leaving the command center, needing to know. Was any of it real? Ryan stopped at the doorway. All real, Commander. The training valuable. The friendships, sincere. The academic interest, authentic. That's what made it so effective. And Instructor Kexron will prove a valuable partner if he chooses to align. Ryan's face softened. He taught me tactics versus strategy. Tactics win battles. Strategy ensures the right battles are fought. Tonight was strategy. Heading towards a future rewritten by the humans, Vor realized they'd taught them a fundamental truth about warfare. The strongest weapon wasn't power or technology. Sometimes, it was simply the enemy's misjudgment. The Galactic Council chambers had seen much. A tense emergency session convened in the Galactic Council's circular amphitheater, filled with the anxious clicks, hisses, and rumbles of 47 species. Human representatives stood amidst the swirling unease, their composure a stark contrast to the galaxy-altering revelation they'd just unveiled. Council Speaker Brixhole, a towering figure from an ancient predator species, commanded silence. This emergency session addresses the unprecedented breach at the Galactic Defense Academy and evaluates the human delegation's proposal. Representative Thmar of the Hegemony, a presence that stirred anticipation, presented a proposal disguised as diplomacy. Colonel Torres, radiating quiet authority, countered, "This security assessment was a council request 3 months prior." Confusion rippled through the chamber as Brixhold demanded clarification. Torres projected a holographic display detailing the council's previous request for Earth's military assessment. "Our report highlighted critical vulnerabilities in current military protocols. We sought a written assessment," Torres explained, "not a demonstration." "The written assessment proved insufficient," interjected Ryan, standing beside Torres. "Our findings suggested galactic leadership wouldn't take our recommendations seriously without concrete proof. We therefore demonstrated the inadequacy of your security," Jake responded. "If 4 humans could penetrate your academy in a single night, what could a coordinated hegemony assault force achieve?" A storm of indignant voices erupted. Thmar's voice sliced through the chaos. "You dare use our name to justify criminal actions?" "We use reality to justify necessary actions," countered Mike. "Would you like to see our observations of your border facilities?" The chamber fell silent. The representatives understood the implications of the question. Torres calmly explained, "Our actions adhere to standard military reconnaissance protocols, as used by every species in this chamber." "Show us," Thmar demanded, sensing a potential deception. Ryan nodded, a shared understanding passing between the team. "You are about to witness data that will reshape galactic security." The holographic display transitioned to detailed schematics of hegemony military installations, internal layouts, security protocols, personnel assignments, and equipment specifications. Mike pointed out, "These facilities are located in the hegemony's most secure sectors." The level of detail was breathtaking. This represents intelligence gathered over 6 weeks, using enhanced infiltration techniques gleaned from academy training protocols. Thmar scoffed. "Impossible. Our security is impenetrable." "Adequate against conventional threats, but not adaptive infiltration," Jake corrected. "Your biometric scanners, calibrated for known species, don't account for synthetic biological signatures mimicking authorized personnel." "That's the point," Ryan concluded. "Galactic military doctrine assumes predictable technological advancement, but human innovation doesn't." Torres revealed comparative analysis charts, documenting how current galactic capabilities are inadequate. The galactic defenses are lagging, maybe 15 years behind the curve. The hegemony exploits this weakness, building up strategic advantages beyond comprehension. "What kind of advantages?" Bixter questioned, his voice trembling. "Adaptive warfare systems, learning and evolving against their enemies, real-time tactical shifts," Mike explained, his tone serious. "Psychological warfare designed to exploit species-specific vulnerabilities. Worst of all, weapons that morph in battle, countering any defense." A collective chill swept the room. If these humans spoke the truth, the hegemony possessed power that could crush the galactic military. "Why believe any of this?" Thmar demanded, his voice echoing with suspicion. "Because we're here to prove it," Torres stated simply. Suddenly, alarms screamed, barriers dropped, and shields materialized around the speaker's podium. "What have you done?" Brixto's voice was laced with genuine fear. "Nothing," Ryan stated calmly, his voice level. "Your systems think we're under attack." "Impossible. The council chamber is impenetrable," Jake interjected, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. It was. Then the display showed it. A swarm of enemies, infiltrating the very walls. "It's a simulation," Torres explained, as panic erupted. "We tweaked your systems, showing how easy perception is to manipulate. It's all false, yet your defenses react as if it's real." "Shut it down," Brixel ordered. "In approximately 30 seconds, Mike replied. Then, but first, observe your reactions." Panic flared. Evacuation orders clashed with demands for immediate defense. Some species activated their personal weapons, a dangerous dance of energy fields. "The hegemony has studied these reactions for years," Ryan observed. "They know precisely how each species will react, designing attacks to exploit those responses." "Enough!" Thmar roared, his combat instincts ignited. "End it! Now!" "As you wish," Torres responded, a subtle gesture to Jake. Instantly, the alerts vanished, the enemy contacts disappeared, and the barriers retracted. Silence descended. "Your security, your defenses, your instincts, all predictable," Ryan began, his voice firm. "The hegemony relies on that. But humans, we're unpredictable. We create new patterns." Mike added, "We break the mold, making us both a potent ally and a deadly foe." Brixto's gaze locked onto the humans, a primitive instinct stirring within him. "What are you proposing?" "Partnership," Torres offered. "Joint development, shared training, and, most importantly, a unified command, able to react faster than tradition allows." "You're asking us to rebuild the galactic military?" Cortec asked, astounded. "We're asking you to survive," Ryan responded, his voice heavy. "The hegemony's planning major offensives within 18 months. Current methods won't be enough." "You think human methods will do the job?" "We believe combined forces will succeed," Jake corrected. "Human ingenuity, guided by galactic wisdom. Neither alone is enough. Together we can create a power no single species could dream of." Thamar, silent, finally spoke, his earlier rage subdued. "You mentioned observing our facilities. What did you actually see?" The astonishing revelation silenced the chamber. Torres intently scrutinized the hegemony representative before calmly stating, "A massive military buildup across 17 border sectors. New weaponry, defying known galactic technology, and war games simulating full-scale planetary invasions. The buildup started 8 months ago. The new weapons appeared 6 months later, and the invasion simulations began 3 months ago." Tokmar's face shifted from fury to stark fear. "You're detailing classified operations I never knew existed." Mike's quiet reply sent a chill through the room. "They're conducted by a rogue hegemony faction, ignoring the chain of command. Our analysis indicates a coup in progress. The new leadership aims for galactic conquest to consolidate power." The news hit the chamber with the force of a physical blow. If the humans were right, the hegemony government faced a military extremist takeover, with galactic conquest their path to legitimacy. Brixville's voice was grave. "This changes everything. If the hegemony military has gone rogue, diplomacy is futile. We need new military solutions forged through genuine interspecies collaboration." Torres added, emphasizing the importance of leveraging diverse strengths and capabilities. Representative Velino, his crystalline face reflecting the holographic projections, leaned forward, expressing skepticism. "You want us to trust you with our most sensitive secrets, based on unverifiable intelligence?" Ryan countered. "Actually, we're offering verifiable intelligence right now." A new holographic display showed real-time intercepted communications from hegemony space. Unencrypted military frequencies revealed coordination between forces that shouldn't exist. Thamar's voice rang with outrage and fear. "How are you accessing these communications?" Jake replied, "By recognizing that your security systems thwart known infiltration, not the unknown." Torres clarified, "We're intercepting the rogue faction's communications, planning the overthrow. The legitimate hegemony government's communications remain secure." "How do you know the difference?" demanded Thamar. Mike explained, "Months of monitoring reveal distinct communication patterns. The legitimate government follows protocols. The rebels use ad hoc networks bypassing command." Brixel hushed the murmurs, absorbing the disturbing truth. "You're claiming the hegemony is embroiled in civil war." Ryan confirmed grimly, "And the losing side plans to seize power through external conquest." Thamar, his voice barely a whisper, urged, "Show us more." The display shifted to detailed analyses of hegemony military movements, fleet deployments utterly illogical from a defensive standpoint, but ideally positioned for simultaneous offensive strikes on multiple neighboring systems, starting 6 weeks ago, disguised as routine exercises. Representative Cortex's voice was sharp with alarm. Jake confirmed, 17 sectors, including territories of the Military Alliance, the Science Consortium, and the Outer Rim Confederacy. Velnik protested, "Impossible. No single species possesses the resources for such simultaneous attacks." Mike corrected, "Not using conventional doctrine, but sacrificing defense for offense, utilizing rapidly reconfigurable weapons, it becomes feasible." Thamar noted, "Such a strategy leaves the hegemony defenseless." Ryan's voice was chilling. "Only if there's anyone left to defend." The intelligence pointed to something far worse than conquest extermination. Silence descended as the representatives grappled with this horrifying realization. Brixel voiced the unspoken fear. "Why would they do that?" Taurus answered, "Because they understand something the galaxy hasn't yet grasped. The current galactic power balance is fragile." The Galactic Council chamber felt volatile, a precarious balance of species with clashing ambitions. A radical faction craved order through sheer dominance, a path the humans rejected. The current system is fragile, Jake stated, but true stability arises not from subjugation, but from evolution. Evolution into what? They pressed. Ryan elaborated, envisioning a unified military alliance, a fluid force capable of anticipating and countering threats with unprecedented speed. Instead of disparate military doctrines across 17 species, they proposed integrated units, synergizing the strengths of each. "You're proposing a galactic military superpower," Representative Kortek observed. "We're describing a galactic defense network," Torres corrected, emphasizing its capacity to deter aggression and adapt to unforeseen dangers. Who would command such a force? "Everyone and no one," Mike responded, explaining that command authority would rotate, dictated by the threat's nature and available expertise. No single species would dictate terms, but all would contribute their unique prowess. Brixel studied the humans intently. "You've clearly considered this deeply," Ryan affirmed. "Earth, as the newest member, faces a critical choice: vulnerability or danger. We've chosen survival." Torres added, "All else is merely strategy." As the chamber buzzed with deliberation, the humans waited, knowing their proposal challenged deeply ingrained practices. Suddenly, Thar interjected, "What crucial detail have you omitted? Why reveal this now?" Ryan met his team's gaze. "In roughly 6 hours, the rogue Hegman faction intends to assassinate their leadership and impose martial law." A wave of shock rippled through the chamber. Thar's suspicion morphed into horror. "How do you possess this knowledge?" "We've been monitoring their communications for weeks," Jake revealed. "The assassination is synchronized with the commencement of their offensive. They must neutralize internal dissent before external attacks." "You must warn them," Dr. Ma urged. "We have," Torres confirmed. 3 hours ago, we provided loyalist forces within the Hegman military with comprehensive intelligence on the assassination plot. Countermeasures are underway." "Then why inform us now?" "Regardless of the assassination's success or failure, the rogue faction will proceed," Mike explained. "They've invested too heavily to retreat." Ryan added, "If the assassination fails, they will falsely claim alien interference has compromised the legitimate government, justifying their attacks as a defensive posture." The stark reality became clear. War was imminent, beginning in 6 hours. A palpable gravity settled upon the chamber as representatives urgently initiated communication protocol to relay the critical warnings. "What do you require of us?" Brixo asked. "Authorization to enact emergency military cooperation protocols," Torres replied. "Joint command, shared intelligence, and coordinated defenses." "You're asking us to overhaul our military structure in 6 hours." "We're asking you to survive the next 6 hours," Jake corrected. "Restructuring can follow, if there is a follow." Representative Velnick activated his personal communicator, speaking urgently in his native tongue. He looked up, alarmed. "My government reports unusual military movements in 3 border sectors, unsanctioned ship deployments, communication blackouts in critical areas." "It's beginning," Mike murmured. More representatives received similar dispatches, confirming a pattern of military assets repositioning, communication networks compromised, and defensive installations deactivated. "How much time do we have?" Brixel inquired. "Approximately 4 hours before the first attack wave, based on deployment patterns," Torres replied. "However, preliminary operations have already commenced." "What kind of preliminary operations?" "Sabotage of vital infrastructure, targeted elimination of command personnel, and communication network disruption," Ryan explained, noting the unprecedented scale of this textbook destabilization protocol. "Textbook according to whom?" Thar demanded. "According to the Academy's own training materials," Jake answered. "The ones we borrowed 3 weeks ago." The implications were staggering. The chamber reeled as if struck by a physical blow. The rogue Hijgamani faction wielded not just advanced weaponry and tactics, but the very fabric of galactic military doctrine against the galaxy itself. "They've dissected our training protocols," Brixel stated, his voice heavy, "learning our vulnerabilities from our own educational materials." Torres confirmed, "Precisely. That's why conventional defenses are futile. They anticipate our every move because they were trained with our own systems." "Then how do we counter them?" Torres replied, "By employing methods they haven't studied. Human tactical innovation coupled with galactic military might." "What kind of methods?" Ryan elaborated. Adaptive command structures that morph faster than enemy intelligence can track. Psychological warfare exploiting their own patterns. And crucially, weapons platforms reconfigurable in real time to neutralize any threat. Representative Cortec observed, "You describe capabilities you claimed the hegemony possessed." "Because we conceived them first," Torres countered. "Our intelligence on hegemony weapon systems came from seeing our own technology turned against us." "They stole human military technology," Jake corrected. "They reverse-engineered it from captured equipment, but they lack understanding of the fundamental principles, meaning they cannot adapt it as we can." "What captured equipment?" Thmer inquired. "The reconnaissance drones we've been using to monitor galactic military installations," Mike responded. "Some were detected and captured in recent months. We allowed it." "You deliberately let them capture your technology?" "We deliberately let them capture obsolete technology," Ryan clarified. "Those drones ran software 3 generations behind our current capabilities, but their reverse engineering process taught us their approach to innovation." "So you used them to study their learning processes," Brixville mused with grudging admiration. "We used them to understand their thinking," Torres affirmed, "which is why we know precisely how they will orchestrate their offensive operations." Suddenly, the chamber's communication systems blared to life, broadcasting an urgent alert from the hegemony's home system. The message was stark and chilling. "Government facilities under assault. Martial law declared. All external communications suspended." "It has begun," Thima whispered. "The assassination attempt," Brixtel asked. "The coup," Taus corrected. "Whether the assassination succeeded or failed, the rogue faction is now moving to seize governmental control." "What happens next?" "Within 2 hours," Ryan explained, "they will declare the legitimate government compromised by alien influences. They will assert that external military action is imperative to safeguard hegemony interests. And then they will launch simultaneous assaults on 17 sectors, utilizing weapons and tactics that traditional galactic military doctrine cannot anticipate," Jake added. "Unless we intercept them first," Mike declared. "How?" Representative Cortec demanded. "By enacting the emergency military cooperation protocols we've been discussing," Torres replied. "Joint command, shared intelligence, coordinated defense, in 2 hours." "In 2 hours," Ryan confirmed. "We've already established the necessary infrastructure. We merely require authorization to initiate it." Brito scanned the chamber, meeting the gazes of representatives acutely aware that their decision would shape galactic civilization's destiny. "All in favor of emergency military cooperation protocols?" The vote was unanimous. "Motion passed," Bierschol announced. "Emergency protocols are now active. All species are authorized to coordinate military operations under joint command structures." "Who assumes command?" Representative Cortec asked. "We do," Torres replied, "until this immediate crisis is resolved and permanent command structures are established." "You're asking us to place our military forces under human command." "We're asking you to place your military forces under competent command," Ryan corrected. "The species with the most relevant experience will lead specific operations. In this instance, that's us." As if summoned by his words, emergency alerts cascaded throughout the chamber, not local, but emanating from across the galaxy, reporting simultaneous attacks on multiple systems. "It has begun," Mike stated quietly. The main display pulsed with tactical data, flooding in from dozens of disparate sources. Hegemony forces were assaulting installations in 17 distinct sectors, employing weapons and tactics utterly alien to known galactic military doctrine. "How are they coordinating attacks across such immense distances?" Velno inquired. "Quantum communication networks," Jake replied. They're crafting a hidden command network, bypassing standard galactic channels." Impossible feat. Quantum communication demands immense infrastructure. Building it means sacrificing defense for offense. Torres revealed their years of preparation. The tactical map flickered, updating with dire news. Vital military hubs had fallen silent, their defenses shattered, communications severed. "They're not just attacking," Ryan noted grimly. "They're systematically dismantling our ability to fight back." "Then how do we counter this?" Brix demanded, his voice tight. "With the unexpected," Mike responded. "Human ingenuity fused with the galaxy's might." Torres brought up Earth's arsenal. 17 stealth recon ships deployed across the stars have been observing for months. There are mobile command centers for a coordinated strike. 17 ships against the entire hegemony armada? Thurkmar's disbelief was palpable. 17 ships coordinating the entire galactic fleet, Jake corrected firmly. We're not alone. We fight as one. The following hours became a whirlwind of strategic planning. Human and alien commanders melded innovative tactics with established doctrine, crafting responses the hegemony couldn't anticipate. Their first major victory came when Ryan's team pinpointed the hegemony's central quantum communication hub. Instead of a direct assault, they infiltrated the network, injecting deceptive data into the rogue command structure. How did you breach their quantum network? Thema inquired, as reports of hegemony confusion flooded in. The same way we breach everything else, Ryan explained. We understood their systems were designed to repel known threats, not the unknown. But quantum encryption is theoretically unbreakable. Theoretically, Torres conceded, but theory assumes conformity. We don't conform. The second breakthrough emerged from Mike's technical unit, revealing a critical flaw in the hegemony's adaptive weaponry. These platforms could reconfigure to counter specific threats, but this process left them momentarily vulnerable. They're weaponizing our own technology, Mike explained to the assembled leaders, but without grasping the fundamental principles. They follow code blindly, not understanding the why. Which means, Jake interjected, we can exploit their adaptability. We present threats that force reconfiguration, then strike during that vulnerable window. The third breakthrough was purely psychological. Human analysts dissected the rogue leadership's communication patterns, identifying exploitable personality traits. They adhere to a rigid, hierarchical command, Torres elaborated, but they're also consumed by paranoia over internal betrayal. How does that help us? Paranoia breeds predictability, Ryan answered. We can influence their decisions by feeding them information that confirms their deepest fears of internal threats. The combined impact of these breakthroughs crippled the hegemony offensive. Their forces attacked phantom targets, while galactic defenders struck at true objectives. Their weapon platforms were disabled during reconfiguration cycles, and their command structure began to fracture, as leaders accused each other based on fabricated intelligence about conspiracies. It's working, Brixhall declared, observing the hegemony forces in full retreat on the tactical displays. Their assault is crumbling. Phase 1 is complete, Torres confirmed. But the fight isn't over. What do you mean? The rogue faction still commands significant military power, Mike clarified. They will regroup and launch a second offensive, likely with altered tactics. How much time do we have, based on their communication patterns? Approximately 72 hours, Jake estimated. But the next wave will be more perilous. Why? Because they'll learn from their mistakes, Ryan explained. They'll adapt their strategies to counter our countermeasures. Then we must be prepared to adapt faster than they can, Brixer stated. Precisely, Torres agreed, which is why we must make these emergency military cooperation protocols permanent. The subsequent debate, though intense, was mercifully brief. Representatives grasped the undeniable efficacy of their joint operations. The recognition of lasting implications from permanently reshaping galactic military doctrine resonated deeply. What might perpetual partnership truly entail? Representative Kortek inquired. Integrated command structures, blending the finest species capabilities, Taurus explained. Joint training, forging forces for adaptive warfare, and crucially, shared intelligence networks to preempt critical threats, Ryan added. Emphasizing human involvement remains as long as it is needed and welcomed, not for dominance, but to build a resilient system against future dangers, even from humanity itself. Jake asserted that integrating human military power with galactic oversight and accountability is paramount to preventing misuse. The subsequent vote, though tighter than the emergency authorization, passed decisively, signifying the galaxy's embrace of evolution over tradition and adaptation over stasis. Motion passed, Biarshal declared, establishing permanent military cooperation protocols and the official formation of the Galactic Defense Alliance. The ensuing weeks were a flurry of organizational shifts and tactical advancements. The anticipated second wave of hegemony assaults arrived precisely as predicted. However, the nascent alliance stood prepared. United forces, employing integrated strategies, vanquished the rogue faction, dismantling their remaining military strength and reinstating legitimate governance within the hegemony's territories. The true transformation had only just begun. The Galactic Defense Academy underwent a complete overhaul, with human and alien instructors collaborating to craft new training regimens, merging established military principles with adaptive tactical methodologies. Students from diverse species learned to collaborate, exchanging knowledge and techniques beyond any single species' capacity. Instructor Kexon found himself imparting lessons previously unimaginable. Pupils, schooled in species-specific tactics, now embraced adaptable approaches based on their allies' strengths and weaknesses. The bedrock of modern conflict, he informed a mixed species class, lies in understanding and leveraging the advantages of others. A young hegemony cadet questioned, "What if differing species possess conflicting tactical philosophies?" "Then you learn to forge them into something novel," Kekstrom responded. "That's the Alliance's power. We're not merely combining existing strengths. We are creating entirely new ones." Following the session, Ryan, now the Director of Tactical Innovation, tasked with pioneering doctrines against yet unforeseen threats, awaited Sextron in the corridor. "How are the integration programs unfolding?" Ryan inquired. "Exceeding expectations," Sextron replied. "Students are transcending their species' traditional limitations, and instructors are realizing they too have much to learn," Sextron remarked with his characteristic hint of amusement. "You've fundamentally altered everything, not just military strategy, but education itself." "We've changed what was necessary," Ryan countered. "The galaxy was ensnared in patterns that rendered it vulnerable. Now it's learning unpredictability." "Is that beneficial or detrimental?" "It's survival," Ryan stated. "All else is mere discourse." 6 months after the Galactic Defense Alliance's inception, the new system faced its inaugural significant challenge from an unforeseen threat. An unknown species from beyond the galaxy began probing the Outer Rim territories with technologies and tactics defying all known military doctrines. They adhere to no recognizable patterns, Torres reported to the Alliance command staff. Their weaponry, vessels, tactical approaches, everything is utterly alien. "More alien than us?" Jake asked, a faint smile playing on his lips. "More alien than anything we've encountered?" Mike responded seriously. "They seem unbound by any discernible logical principles, making them the ultimate test for our new doctrine," Ryan observed. "If we can adapt to utterly unpredictable adversaries, we can adapt to anything." The ensuing conflict, dubbed the First Contact War, was more accurately a series of intricate tactical challenges demanding continuous adaptation and ingenuity. Alliance forces confronted adversaries who appeared to alter their entire wartime strategy daily. "They're not merely adaptive," Brixill commented. A profound shift gripped the Alliance during a strategy session. Their tactics, once grounded in logic, became a swirling vortex of chaos. Torres proposed a startling theory. Perhaps this chaotic approach was their true strategic genius, an evolution beyond conventional doctrine, a fundamental difference in their understanding of warfare. Ryan echoed, "Some species might view war as pure improvisation, devoid of structured strategy." The breakthrough ignited when a human-alien team realized the enemy's apparent chaos was, in fact, sophisticated pattern recognition. They adapted in real time, exploiting our vulnerabilities, rendering our defenses obsolete. Mike articulated the challenge: how to combat an enemy who adapts faster than we can. Jake offered the solution: evolve beyond their adaptation. Make our own tactics so fluid they are uncountable. A revolutionary strategy bloomed. The Alliance adopted randomized tactical protocols, rendering every engagement unique and unpredictable. This wasn't just unpredictability, it was a calculated chaos, a systematic disruption of enemy patterns that eluded external analysis. The war ended not with a grand battle, but with the enemy's gradual retreat from the galaxy. Their withdrawal confirmed the effectiveness of the new doctrine, a defense so adaptable it defied comprehension. They simply couldn't understand, and thus couldn't counter the Alliance's innovative evolution. This military system, capable of adapting to the unimaginable, marked the beginning of a new era. The years that followed tested the system. Rogue AI, dimensional invaders, time-traveling foes, each challenge forced adaptation, fostering unprecedented cooperation between species. The Galactic Defense Academy flourished, drawing students from across the galaxy. The curriculum, based on lived experience, continuously evolved, creating new concepts in strategy and tactics. Quixel, the Academy's instructor, reminded the graduating class, every lesson is merely a stepping stone. "What if we encounter something we can't adapt to?" a student questioned. "Then we adapt our adaptation," Texorn replied. "That's what defines an Alliance officer." Later, Sexron found Ryan in the Memorial Garden, contemplating the countless conflicts that had shaped the Alliance. "Any regrets?" Sexron asked. Ryan reflected, I regret its necessity, but not that we did it. The future, brimming with unimaginable threats, will also usher in new opportunities for cooperation, innovation, and growth. The Alliance isn't just a military, it's a revolution of collaboration. It's a testament to how different species can work together, even species unknown. The Galactic Defense Academy's formal evaluation, jointly submitted by Director Ryan and Head Instructor QX Ron, resonated throughout the archives. Analysis of Alliance military strategy. Achievements surpassed all expectations. Endorsement, perpetual advancement, and flexible methodologies permanently instituted. A striking observation followed. The pupils have inspired their instructors. The instructors have returned to the role of pupils. And the cosmos itself has transformed into a dynamic arena of learning, where the syllabus is defined by circumstance and success is measured in continued existence. Beneath, scrawled in finer print, a deeply personal postscript. They absorbed our teachings, yes, but more profoundly, they showed us that the pursuit of knowledge is endless, and so is the gift of guidance. The galaxy has been irrevocably changed, but perhaps that was always the intended path. Amidst the vastness of space, as Alliance forces braced for unforeseen challenges, the spark of adaptation and innovation, born from one inquisitive human in an academy classroom, ignited a galaxy-wide movement. For the ultimate safeguard isn't merely comprehensive instruction, but a constantly evolving understanding. And the finest educators aren't those with all the solutions, but those who relentlessly seek greater clarity.